This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Danilo's free. He goes to get wide. Edge of the box. Foley. Yes! Great goal! What a hit from Oliveira! We've only got to done it again! Forest back in the lead. Road Morgan gets White. Oh, and he scores! And the City ground goes ballistic!
Well, that wasn't so bad, was it? Hello and welcome to Red Side of the Trent as Forest come back from international break to upset the apple cart, be the coupon buster and beat Liverpool at Anfield for the first time in 55 years, where Barry Lyons was at the double back in 1969. This time it's the man that demanded a song, even though he'd already kind of got one, in Callum Hudson-Odoi as Forest waltz away from Anfield with a 1-0 win. Joining me are Reese Lane and Tom Head. Tom, how are you, first of all?
The moon, mate. On the bloody moon I am. It was just incredible. There was to the point where you can't even say we looked out or we sort of, there was no clinging on for grim death. In fact, there was a couple of chances to get a second at the end, and the first half was a bit scary. There was a couple of mistakes there. I think I've got a PTSD from Matt Selch dropping the ball on his line, which we don't usually get away with stuff like that. And you know, when you have them thoughts to yourself like this could be our day, you didn't say anything at the time, but when I saw that and it didn't do like a Jordan Pickford Mark II at Anfield, I was like, maybe, just maybe today can be the day.
Yeah, how was your kebab that got left by your neighbour as well? Seen on Twitter.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of good things happened yesterday. But I got back from town at midnight, and my neighbour had left a kebab just hanging on the little takeaway bag, just on the front door. And I'd not seen Match of the Day at that point, so I went in, scanned that, got the highlights up. I mean, you understand why for the last 18 hours or so, I've been pinching myself like none of this seems real. But yeah, the Forest win and the kebab theory's been, so what more can you ask for?
Hello, definitely. Reese, how are you, first of all?
Just like floating on air, isn't it? Just just still in shock, really. I mean, I think even the hardened the Forest fans would have been clutching a little bit if they'd gone up there yesterday, kind of more than in hope of than expecting us to win. So yeah, just a special day.
I mean, from coming back into Luton, where you were really disappointed, into to Liverpool, where we're also very disappointed until we come away from Anfield.
Yeah, just, honestly, I you can't really put into words. It's just absolutely incredible. It's a pinch myself moment. It really is.
Just to let people in behind the curtain a little bit, you got a little bit emotional at the end of the game, I saw. But I know how much it means to you in terms of like you really hate Liverpool. I mean, I don't love them or like them, but like you proper hate them. So,
yeah, we'll leave that for another pod.
Definitely. First of all, we're going to get into the team, Tom. Hey, up, you've gone in the dark. I know it's a bit sunny this morning.
It's weird. Do you know what? I say everything's going my way. I've got the patio doors open and the sun's come out and it's like beaming right in my face. So I look like I'm in witness protection at the minute with these shadows across me. But yeah, no, sorry about that. Hopefully the contrast changes at some point.
That's all right. It's a good job people listen on audio as well. Anyway, the team was a bit of a surprise. Alex Moreno coming for Nico Williams, which switched Oliveira to right back. James Ward-Prowse made his debut in for the injured Sangare, who has actually been reported he's out for 2 months with a hamstring injury. Captain Ryan Yates coming for Callum Hudson-Odoi and Nico Dominguez in for Elanga, which made kind of Dominguez and Anderson kind of play the wider kind of roles in a 4-5-1 or 4-4-1-1, however you want to see it. Was you surprised with how Nuno went?
Not really, because we've sort of seen it before where he packs that midfield. And to me, it was the sensible, logical choice because You really do. You have to do. It's a war of attrition. If you want to go and get something up there, then you've got to sort of win them the midfield battles, really, which is easier said than done. But I really enjoyed the sort of Yates McAllister battle yesterday. I thought that was. I know we've had a week of Barkley's nostalgia on social media, and I thought that was quite a nice throwback. Yeah, like I think it was a tactical masterclass, and I said it yesterday. I put a tweet out, but I think it's of my lifetime. I don't think it's too dramatic to say. I really don't, but I think it's one of the great Forest tactical performances of my lifetime, if not the best, given the context, given that we didn't just go to Liverpool in like when they went on that rubbish run of form in the pandemic. We did it when they had Virgil van Dijk playing, and he's got that unbelievable record at Anfield. Like we did it on the hardest possible setting, really. They're 3 from 3, you know, they had a lot of momentum behind him. And it was just, yeah, I think it's all credit to Nuno as well, because what can you say about this bloke? Because he's just gone about. He's been so subtle in the way he's gone about his business and the way he's brought in improvements, like incrementally each week, each month. And he come in. It was difficult because he was essentially replacing a cult leader in Steve Cooper, and I was cult member number 1. I really was. And for him to come in and get this team believing and playing how they're doing, like I think last time I was on this pod was a few months ago. And I said that 50-50 about Nuno staying, but you can tell the difference of him having a pre-season. He's got his ideas across, and like even yesterday in the 50th, 60th minute, the changes we made were positive. Like Dominguez coming off and Alanga coming on. Like we went there to win, and everyone stuck to the game plan. You pick any name out of any player yesterday, and I'll tell you it was a 10 out of 10 performance. Honestly, even Dominguez going off after 50 minutes, he'd done his job. He'd done what he was there to do. And every single player did that. And I tip my hat to Nuno because, God, what a turnaround. After everything he had to go through last year, the points deductions, the VAR nonsense, the club statements, and he's never once tried to win the fans over, if that makes sense. Like, no fist bumps, no like singing Muller Kintyre in his press conferences or anything like that. He's just come in and he's just done his job, and he's done it well. And now we're sort of reaping the rewards of having a bit of long-term vision and showing a bit of faith. And yeah, I'm just a bit embarrassed saying that I was 50-50 about him a few months ago. I'm 100-0 now. So
I think it was always going to be the case, though, with, like you say, Steve Cooper being a cult leader. I think that kind of sums it up quite perfectly, really. Like, it was always going to be the case. Reece, the tone was set, as Tom said, like Yates getting right into McAllister and kind of stepping on toes and bits and bobs. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he just became the pantomime villain for the day. It was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed Liverpool fans calling him a thug and every name under the sun. And then actually, I replied to a lad on Twitter saying, I'm sure he only made 1 foul. And I actually looked it up, and he actually did only make 1 foul. I mean, his yellow card wasn't even for a foul. I think it was for basically time wasting, wasn't it? They were trying to take a quick free kick. So yeah, that is exactly what you want Ryan Yates to do. I think, you know, a lot of the time people say when we're playing the lesser side of this league, a lot of fans are like, get Ryan Yates in the team when we want to be more progressive. That's where really you kind of don't want him in the team, because you want them players who are a bit better on the ball. But against like the big six, we've seen this last season at Spurs in the sense that I know he nearly got sent off that day, but he wound Maddison up to a point where Maddison could have easily got sent off. And, you know, and then when you've got these 2 banks of 4 and he's nibbling at people's heels, that's the type of games for me where you kind of probably want him in. And, you know, it's a bit detrimental, really, that obviously none of us said we put him in our teams, did we? But he did his job, like Tom said, as everybody else did yesterday. He captained the side to one of the clubs in modern times, definitely one of the club's most famous victories for sure. Probably, you know, up there with the best win we've had in the Premier League. I think we beat Man United 2-1 in 94-95 when I think they only conceded like half dozen goals or something that season, or 3 or something like that. It's up there with that for me.
Yeah,
yeah, a very famous win.
I mean, just stick with yourself as well, Reece. I thought, like, to say we didn't have like the natural width with Anderson or Dominguez or anything. I just thought we actually looked established. We didn't look scared. We actually gained some control of the game in some moments. We went forward quite well, I thought, and I thought defending we were pretty good because, like, Liverpool were always going to have that bit of pressure. There was always going to have that bit of possession in and around our box and kind of get it out to Salah. Trent was obviously going to pick up spaces where he's going to have time on the ball, and Luis Diaz is running at Alarena. But we kind of like really nullified Liverpool. I mean, I think I saw a stat, they created 5 big chances every game this season so far in the 3 they've played, and they created 1 against us. And then we almost dropped 1 in our own goal, which was a heart-stopping moment, wasn't it? In our away end at our end, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, like Tom said, when that kind of doesn't go in, you do think in your back of your mind, like, is this going to kind of be our day? And then you're like 0-0 at half time, and you're thinking, oh God, can we actually hold this out and nick a point here? But no, like Anderson and Dominguez aren't natural wingers. We know that, but what you'll get from them two is you'll get energy. And like Dominguez, I thought for 50 minutes he ran and just pressed. There was a point where they was on the edge of our box, and Dominguez's press just push them back to like the halfway line, and that's what you need just at times, just to get out of them type of places and give your defence a breather, because you can't have, you know, continuous balls coming in the box or it being pinged around the edge of the box pressure for, you know, consistent time. So yeah, like Tom said, every player did his job yesterday, and you could generally, you know, write down a player in front of you, you could give a monologue of how they could have been a man of the match contender. Yeah, it was the perfect away performance, you know. So at them type of places, at times you are going to ride your luck. That's how it goes. You're not going to go to Man City and Liverpool and not concede at least one decent chance. But no, it was spot on, absolutely spot on.
We did. We rattled them early and we rattled them often. Like we were in the faces. That's what I like. Like, lost count of how many times, both Premier League and sort of Empower Sky Bet days, I've lost count of how many times teams would, like, I don't want to swear, but would S-house us, you know what I mean? And we've been on the end of that so often. And I see teams do a right job against us, like run the clock down, win fouls, sort of buy fouls. And it was just so satisfying to see us not just put that kind of performance in, but to do it at Liverpool, to do it at Anfield. It was, it was a real sort of, it feels like we've took the next step in whatever our evolution is. Now, whether you can say that this early in the season, I'm not sure. But you think about the fact we've conceded 2 goals in 4 games. One's a screamer, one's like a deflected clearance that just happened to fall to a Bournemouth player. Like, it just looks like now we're getting to that point where we can manage games a bit better. Don't get me wrong, probably, you know, there's a case that we could be 4 wins from 4, which is nuts. But like, I can see it. The sort of unmeasurable sort of variables where I'm like, well, I think our game management has improved so much, and I think we're looking now that surely after that, like, we've got Brighton next week, and I know that's a tough ask, but it's now a case of, well, you know what you can do at Anfield, you should be able to go and do that anywhere. Like, that's got to be such a boost for the confidence. So I can almost see the pieces falling into place in this grand old master plan, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, just sticking with yourself, Tom, obviously you mentioned earlier about Nuno's tactical masterclass, and the subs were at the right time. He changed things quite early, brought Dominguez and Anderson off Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, and we created a really good chance for Chris Wood. And I just kind of thought like that was one of his moments, weren't it, where he should have probably done a little bit better. If he got the ball out of his feet, he might have got probably a bit more power behind the shot and really troubled Alisson. And what did you think of that chance? Did you kind of think that was like our moment in the game where you're like, if we're going to get a chance to score this, that was it? And kind of, do you think we kind of blew it?
No, well, like, I'm splitting hairs here, and it is like, just if I have to find one flaw, I would. I thought up until the sort of 60th, 65th minute, certainly before the goal, like, I thought every time we got into the final third, we looked a bit panicked. You know, like Elanga blazed one over the bar before that. Like you say, Wood. Was Wood offside for that chance? No, it was.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, brilliant! Well, not brilliant. It didn't go in, but like, yeah. But there was a lot of times when Gibbs White had drifted past the last man, and he was like, the flag went up a few times, and I thought when we did get in that final third, we were panicking getting the ball off. It was only really that move to sort of like when Wood got through and when like Alanga got through. It's like, right, well, we've got to the next stage where we're creating chances, but we're still snatching at them. So I worried that was like at no point did I think we were going to score because I thought we were a bit too panicked, which is understandable when you spend the whole game sort of trying to nullify that threat. And it's like, how many openings like this are we going to get? I do understand it, but I didn't think it was terminal when Wood missed that chance. But it did at that point. I was thinking, yeah, they're just snatching at everything. So it's hard to say really, because as much as two things have happened. I remember the game crystal clear, but it was also kind of a blur if you think back to it. And you're like, I spent all of the last 20 minutes just looking at the clock. Did not do me any good at all. But yeah, I think that it was an interesting moment in the game, and it probably started tipping like beliefs like, hang on a minute, we can get something if we just get our heads together in that final third. And that Alanga assist for Hudson-Odoi. I know Cal's got a lot of work to do from that point, but that sort of split in the defence, going across the three defenders, it was just a moment of magic, followed up by another moment of magic, and that quite often is what you need to win a game at Anfield like that. So yeah, all's well that ends well, eh?
Just going to go to the comments a minute. So Pete Brockwell just actually said Morgan Gibbs White was offside in that build-up to that goal, so probably wouldn't have counted. But morning to everyone. We've got about 62 people in here. So morning to Nick, Sarah, AJ, Jonathan, and Pete. Thank you for joining us, obviously, as ever. Reece, we obviously got to talk about the goal because we was in the carnage of it all. I mean, people won't be able to see, but you elbowed me in the head and I had a small lump. My glasses went flying. I about 10 seconds into the aftermath of the goal, which I actually didn't see going. I couldn't see the ball actually nestle in the corner. My glasses have flown off. I can't see out. Someone saved me glasses. Reece Selby saved my glasses. So shout out to him. Thank you. But let's just talk us through it. Obviously, I know Tom went through it there, but I mean, we talk about Hudson-Odoi needing variation. Does he? Because he just absolutely scored Connor Bradley. You don't think Connor Bradley's been not watching videos or something?
Well, I mean, I must say it starts from an absolutely superb tackle from Milenkovic on the edge of our box. He robs Darwin Núñez and he's just stronger and he wants it more. He was another one who was absolutely superb yesterday and exactly what we need. But I think we'll talk about him later. And then, obviously, Alanga's gone. I think it's Gravenberch in it behind him.
Yes.
From a Liverpool perspective, this is
Take
before I think he was bought. Yeah, you probably just bring him down there. But, I mean, the pass is sublime. I mean, I was waxing lyrical to you, Adam, about Alisson's pass, stayed
down the line.
on the line. And Alanga thought, yeah, forget that pass. Well, how about this for a pass? Absolutely whipped it across their whole back line. And then obviously Hudson-Odoi's one-on-one with, I know Bradley's highly rated, but he's still a young lad, isn't he? And we spoke about variation for Hudson-Odoi. It's just when obviously teams cut that off. But when he gets inside like he did, and once he beat Bradley, and then you're like, go on then. And then Gibbs White does a really good run, which kind of drags Kunate's attention away a little bit. And for that split second, that gives Hudson-Odoi that chance to just use Kunate as a mark and just bend it round him. And Alisson, I mean, you watch on the highlights, was nowhere near it. He got nowhere near it. And I had to kind of jump at him, hence why I knocked your glasses off, because I couldn't see it go in that corner and nestle perfectly in that corner. I don't think there was of a split second away, and I don't think he even thought it had gone in, but he just clipped that post and it gone in. It was, trademark Hudson-Odoi. What a finish. And it's just such a good move from Forest. I mean, from back to front, the tackle, the run from Alanga, the pass, the decoy run from Gibbs White, and the finish. Absolutely superb goal, really was.
I mean, it just in time as he's like demanded this song, which kind of we did have it going. It just didn't really kind of spiral like it did yesterday. But I mean, talk about like coincidences and moments and all that sort of stuff. But I just thought like Hudson-Odoi had Bradley on toast. I mean, I think the chance that Tom talked about where we worked that nice move and Alanga had that snapshot, he dusted him down the wing then, and then even later on where we had a bit of a half a penalty shout, he'd like gone on the outside, cut back, got on the outside again, and he gave him a torrid time. And
This is.
and I think Christian. Sorry, just before you go in, I thought Christian like summed it up actually really well in the preview. Like Liverpool probably weren't going to like think about Hudson-Odoi too much and double up on him, and it worked to a T for us because he got that chance and he delivered.
Because for clubs like that, they're going to believe they've got enough in attacking area speed. And to be fair, if you're a Liverpool fan, you'd have been going into that ground yesterday thinking this is a home banker. That's just the reality. But it's something I said on the pod a while ago where Stuart Pearce says as a left back, his job was to try and make his winger defend. So obviously Bradley is, being Liverpool, he's probably going to think, well, I'm going to try and make Hudson-Odoi defend, and I'm going to use my attacking ability rather than defensive. So Hudson-Odoi getting at him, it put him under pressure, and once you'd let him cut inside, that dream in your mind was like, can he actually do it at Anfield? And God blimey, did he do it? What?
It's the thing,
superb finish.
The thing you mentioned it, right? I know we all have a laugh, like classic Callum Cutson inside should be his name, but like it's the Morgan Gibbs White run, right? And he takes Konate out the way, and then Konate tries to get back. Hudson-Odoi's got that bend, so it's all right saying he's a one-trick pony, but a lot of like work goes into making that one trick actually come off. And this is what I'm saying about the tactical sort of nous we showed across the pitch yesterday. Both the way Nuno set us up and both the way the players went about it was like Alanga's pass taking 3 defenders out, bringing the winger in, and then that Gibbs White run across the box. It's people say, Hudson-Odoi, he cuts inside and he bangs it in. He's the modern day Arjen Robben. But to make that happen, a lot goes into it, and it don't matter because I know you got to show your wingers wide and that, but some players are so good that the one trick they have in the locker is absolutely devastating. There's not much you can do about it once the gears kick in, and once all he needs is that inch of space. That's all he needs. And once he's got that inch, he can sort of pull away a bit and he can use the angle. And I cannot wait. This is a one trick that I will never get sick of. I'm like a toddler that learns like a bit of magic for the first time. I'm like, do it again, Cal. And yeah, I mean, what a winner as well. Like the fact it's a bit of a screamer that we've gone there. We've not just like bobbled it around the box and it's poked in. I mean, that's memories for another 60 odd years or however long it's been since we've won there.
Well, I totally believed him because that's why I put him as my player of the season and top goal scorer this season. It's just like, obviously there is going to be some games where, like you said, Adam, teams are going to cotton on to that, and that's when you kind of like, what else can you kind of do in terms of obviously make him effective? Because I absolutely love watching Callum Hudson-Odoi when he's face to face with a fullback. Every time you're on edge of your seat and thinking, if he gets, the cut inside right, it's the finish. I've never seen him like with that finish. I don't think I've ever seen him like a balloon one or scuff one. It's always at least on target. And like even the one earlier on in the season at Southampton, the keeper made a save. It's like they're literally, for those who play FIFA, the R1 circle, and you get it into a perfect spot, and it's just going in the net. It's such
I think this is just where he's obviously mastering that craft, and it's coming from repetition, and that's why they're top footballers and why they get paid the big bucks. I mean, Tom, you talked about earlier about seeing the game out and how we've got much better at doing it. Talk us through the last kind of 15-20 minutes or so, mate, because I just thought we never, you said this off air actually before we started, like you just never really felt like we were going to concede.
There was, I'm just going through it now, apart from like the Murillo's block and then Van Dijk's header. I mean, you can't even call them like, I suppose Szoboszlai's effort is a big chance, right? But the fact it doesn't force Sels into a save is it just says it all. Like, they were not at it yesterday at all. And it's been one of my favourite pastimes is looking at Liverpool fans' comments on social media when they lose a game, because my word, the excuses they came up with. I had someone telling me that they lost because they had a lot of players who were jet lagged. Now, when you're one of the world's best players and you play at Anfield, surely you can overcome that by Saturday. But yeah, that's what you need, though. You need them to be off it. You need us to be on it, and that's what happened. But after the goal, we were so assured, and I think that Murillo-Milenkovic partnership it's the reason we've only conceded 2 in 4. 2 goals. You could argue that one was quite lucky, and one was an absolute screamer. And yeah, it's just to be so reassured in those moments. I said there was a bit of panic up top until the goal, but then at the back and in the middle of the park all day, we were just so on it, and it never felt. I say it never felt, but like there was a couple of eerie moments. But I remember I only started believing we were going to win that game when it went out for a goal kick with about 20 seconds of stoppage time left, and like even like Reece has hit on it. Like even from like the 92nd, 93rd minute, I was like, well, if they score now, we've still got a bonus point. And they just, Liverpool, maybe jet lag is a real killer for footballers these days, because they really didn't turn up. But Liverpool can still not turn up and really hurt you, and you've got to be something special on the day. No matter what form of this modern Liverpool team turn up, you've got to be really special on the day. And I just love it. I think if I had to pick a man of the match, which is like you say, you could draw a name out there, but one player for me who was looked like he had ice in his veins was Ola Aina. I thought he was exceptional, and I thought he was calm when he was on the ball, and when he was being pressed, he just honestly just found the space, he found the man, he found the player. Even his little goal line clearance as well from that header, just another sort of tick in the box. And I'm just thinking about them last 20 minutes. He was probably more involved in the first 70 minutes, but I'd say Aina for me was just behind Ryan Yates, because I'm contractually obliged to nominate him for man of the match in any game he plays, as his biggest fan. But I thought Aina was probably the personification of how we played yesterday. There was at the back, we were very calm, very assured, and very, very committed. So I don't know if that's a cat amongst the pigeons trying to choose a man of the match from yesterday when you could choose about 15 including subs. I really like Jota Silva's cameo. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he did really well. Just to bring Christian in, because he's reporting from Sunday League Football somewhere in Ashford. Christian, gives a bit of a overall thoughts of what it was like yesterday. Obviously, we've seen you at half time. Your head was all over the shop because Michael Oliver was an absolute abysmal.
Oh, mate, honestly.
The scenes at the end talk us through it.
Yeah, special that, wasn't it? I mean, I'm sure you've already covered it already. Sorry for joining a bit late. But it's just, it was just surreal. It's like one of those days you sort of dream of, innit? When you get promoted, you just want something like that. It's like, it makes all the toil worth it. Like all those days watching us lose away at Gillingham and Walsall, and all those horrible, horrible outings, like the Fawaz era, the Megson era, like all these things where you sort of just like clinging on to hope that it might just one day, like the sun will shine on you, you'll get a chance like that. And yesterday it was just like, as you can tell from my voice, like it's still pretty frayed, but it was just a sensational day. Like I think Dan Taylor sort of touched upon it at the end of the game, so that's probably the most sort of like, it's probably the biggest modern moment for Forest, maybe probably since Wembley, if not bigger than Wembley, really. Because I mean, this isn't just like a fluke game in a cup or anything like that. This is Liverpool in the Premier League. This is Liverpool that will probably be challenging for a title this season as well. And to go there and keep a clean sheet and to look pretty comfortable doing so, like that's special, very, very special.
Definitely. I mean, I thought Murillo completely outshone Van Dijk. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Jota Silva and Morgan Gibbs-White both beating Van Dijk to a header just says it all for me. I mean, Jota Silva his cameo was brilliant actually. Tom, now you mentioned it, it was very, very good. I thought everyone really dug in, got in the work, and everyone deserves a pat on the back for yesterday. But we are going to get into everyone's slept on it thoughts.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
Just bear with me because I am extremely croaky this morning. I'm not going to lie. Forest fan family, perfect game plan, perfect execution. I've been saying since the start of the season that my red hot take is that Forest will actually be as good, if not better, away from home this season. 4 games in, 4 away Premier League wins on the bounce away from home. That is, it doesn't look impossible. Danny Tring got what we deserved. Every player put a shift in. Nuno got everything right. Murillo is the best player I've ever seen at Forest. Moreno or Aina man of the match roll on next week. Capanosity in function, biggest top flight win since the 2-1 win at Old Trafford in December 94, which you mentioned, Reece, obviously. That was no fluke. That was a hard-earned, disciplined concentration, efficiency. We are Premier League, magnificent. Martin Fretwell, tactically superb from Nuno. Then the players to a man executed to spot on. Early could dream of moments like this, can't we? Forest all over. A remarkable and historic victory that deserves a hero. That hero yesterday was Nuno. Praise well deserved for the game plan. And then in the in-game management, when he saw the opportunity second half to go and win the game, a class act. Carl Booth, clear for all the doubters like G-Nev and Carragher to see that we are a different animal this season. Solid at the back with a genuine threat going forward. Game plan executed perfectly. Anyone who thought for that we would be in trouble this season, no chance. Sammy Slack, everyone to a man, was unbelievable today. The whole defence was solid, and our wing backs, especially Aina, were incredible. Nuno got this tactically spot on. Can't believe we won, you Reds. Alex Papadopoulos, Jimenez, are you watching? Question marks. Nick NFFC think they pooped themselves yesterday themselves and thought we were City in that third kit as well, bringing on Grealish's lookalike second half masterclass. Come on, you Reds. Danny Stewart, Callum Hudson-Odoi is too predictable. Cutting in from the left and banging at the far post isn't going to work forever. Oh wait, with boring yawning faces. Panks, if you know, you know. Dave Bullen, best away win in my adult life. Get Aina signed up now. Moreno, man of the match. Most 10 out of 10 since Zanti 09, which I quite liked. Strangely, main memory will be a 5'2" Jota beating Van Dijk to a flick on. Summed up the game mentality. Unreal. Hudson-Odoi cutting back. It's great to have more than 11 players that deserve to start. That's a really good point, actually. Grant Fellows, did you know we hadn't won in Liverpool since 1969? Whole team were on it. The subs all played their part. What a win. Abdoon on the moon, easy peasy. Yatesy masterclass. And then last of all, Premier earlier, I can finally get one up on Reece and say this: all games are winnable. Also, today's fact: an inventor called Yiffei Chen has designed a gun which collects tears from your face so you can shoot them back at the person who made you cry. I mean, saw plenty of Scouse tears. I saw a child like crying on the motorway in a 4x4, and I generally laughed. That's really horrible of me, but it was really, really funny. So
I'm afraid to say, Adam, that crying children of the opposition is actually one of the best thing about the game. And I think the sooner, because them kids, they're learning, they're learning on the job, and you're not necessarily like laughing at a child's misery, you're just laughing at the fact that they're going to be trapped in the same doom cycle we're all trapped in. So sorry, kids. Get used to it. That's my advice.
Just remind me of that picture of the German kid crying when England beat him. Like just soak it in, inject it straight into the veins. We're going to go on to some player performances. Reece, I think I've got to give you a debutant who quietly went about their business in James Ward-Prowse, who I thought, bloody Nora, he's been someone we've been crying out for, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, excellent. Calm on the ball, just did the basics and used his experience. You can tell why he was the main man at Southampton for all them years. And you can see why last season he had a really good season at West Ham. They've obviously, changed manager and gone for Lopetegui, and, he's decided that he's not part of the furniture anymore. But no, I thought he went about his business brilliantly yesterday, as did all the lads who were in the central midfield earlier. He got that wand into that free kick so this is obviously because I didn't go to the Southampton home game in the first season. So there was a free kick yesterday where he literally whips it, and then right at the last second, the dip on the ball. And if someone comes and meets that, you just cannot defend it. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more of them. Hopefully we can get a free kick in shooting range in the near future. But yeah, he's, this we do need him now because we've got Danilo and Sangare on the sidelines. But this set piece merchant and that stuff is, it's a load of nonsense, isn't it? Hopefully he can, that can be the start of being a good signing for us, whether it'll just be for this season or further.
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent yesterday, Ward-Prowse.
I just thought him and Yates complementing each other so well. Like Ward-Prowse, I never really like, because I've never really watched him loads and loads. You just you kind of think, oh, he's a ball playing kind of midfielder, but his positioning to like intercept and kind of start play from the back, he was just so good. Like really,
you just
really
need at them type of places. You just need some experience. You've seen it with Milenkovic at the back. Played in Serie A, played at the biggest international tournaments, played in the Conference League final. You can just see them players who just got that bit of bit of experience, just to say, look, there is going to be times when we're going to be under the cosh. Let's just calm it down a little bit and just get the ball on the floor and play, rather than just shanking it and hoping for the best kind of things what we used to see back in the EFL, because at this level that's what you need to do.
Yeah, Christian, I'm going to give you a man who would have got home last night after being out on the piss of Nuno in West Bridgeford, because I've seen fans doing that literally as the song goes. But he'd have emptied his keys, his wallet, and maybe Mo Salah, another debutant, and Alex Moreno, who I thought was bloody good.
He was more than bloody good, Moreno. Yeah, that was quality. I suppose we knew he played well last season for Villa. It was a bit surprising actually he was made available on loan, really. I know I suppose they signed Matson and whatever else, but looking at that performance yesterday, I think Guy Mowbray put it on his Twitter. He was like, I don't think I've seen a fullback mark Salah in a game like that. He was just so effective. He was so skillful. He was so tenacious. There was one time I think they loosely showed it on Match Today when Shearer did his analysis, where the ball was popped down the right and he just ran ahead of Salah and just sort of just shimmied him out of the way basically and knocked it back up the line. It was just so calmly done. I sort of obviously heard Tom sort of talk the back end of it about picking a man of the match. If any of those back four got made man of the match, I think anyone could really complain. They were all to a man sublime. But yeah, Moreno looks right at home already. I know it's 2 years late. Obviously, we could have signed him when we first got promoted, but maybe everything happens for a reason and all that. And yeah, I'm very, very glad we can have him, and does not look like a 31-year-old at all. So just hope we can keep him fit, because if we can, then he can be a real part of Forest's hopeful sort of rise up the league.
Yeah, Mason, friend of the pod, actually said how good must Aston Villa's left backs be for us to have him on loan for the season, which I thought was a huge compliment. Tom, I've obviously got to save you your second son after Ben Osborne in Ryan Yates, because the amount of hatred I have seen from Liverpool fans. I'm the only one who allowed to give him hatred, and any other Forest fan is allowed to give him hatred. But if anyone else does, I'll protect him with everything I've got. He has really stirred up the pot of housery and could be a good pantomime villain for this season, I feel.
When I'm right, lads, I'm right. That's the thing. My decision to stand by Ryan Yates regardless is a decision based on love. Love is unconditional, love is unrequired. But what I'm noticing with Ryan Yates is that there's a gradual progression in his skill, and this is the thing. His skill is I've got to be kind here, and I've got to get my words right. But his skill is not necessarily the most technical or the most flair, but he's doing that job that every Premier League team needs a player to do. He's getting stuck in, he's gritty. And I do agree to the extent that it's not enough to just have sort of the passion merchant attributes. I do get that. But he takes it one step further, because he didn't just have that old Liverpool team on the strings yesterday. McAllister was losing his head with him. All players were going around him. I've seen all the fans saying that he's a thug. One person called Ryan Yates a journeyman, which is incredible, because he's literally been part of one team since 2018. I know he's gone out on loan and that, but can hardly hold that against him. But what he does, he plays with it's not just the captain's armband on his sleeve, that's his art on his sleeve as well. And I think there is room for players like that. And I think there will always be a space for players like that, because we've seen how effectively it can be used yesterday. And yeah, it's just what he did. It's the winning fouls for me as well, which is people might not like that terminology, winning fouls, but every time the ball fell to him in the middle of the park, he'd hold it up for a bit, he'd move it on, or he'd very wisely take a tumble And I know it didn't quite work when he tried to do it against Luis Diaz on the touchline, which we're going to completely gloss over. But I just think everything he did in terms of, because you've got to remember, a big part of the game plan yesterday was break the game up, stop the flow. They bloody hated that. They didn't like that the game kept stopping, kept starting. There were breaks, and a lot of it came from Yatesy sort of doing the dirty work. And I'm sorry, if you can't see it now, then you're never going to be able to see it. We need people like him because, you know, there's still room for old school gritty cloggers. Okay, and there's a bit more to his game than that. I will say that as his biggest fan. But when he does that sort of stuff, like he does, when he does it well, there's actually. I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't think there's anyone better in the business at S-housing than Ryan Yates on his day. And to the point where we've harnessed that into a 3 points at Liverpool. So, yeah, just really proud of the lad, honestly. I've just... And that's my favourite kind of player, you know, is a horrible, dirty defensive midfielder who puts it all on the line so the rest of the boys can shine. But I don't think Ryan Yates has got any complaints about his role in the team, whether it's off the bench, a 5-minute cameo, whether he's starting. You know what I mean? Like, he always leads by example, and he's starting to make a few heads hot as well, which is just incredible to see. Like, my heart is full of happiness for him. And for myself, I guess, because Forest are winning games, so that's good.
Well,
So
he let
just
himself
on
down a little bit.
just on the whole stop and starting thing that Tom just mentioned there, I thought the Liverpool comments were so funny from Slot and Allison especially. I think I looked at the stats afterwards. I think Liverpool racked up 15 fouls to our 6. You're complaining about stop-start nature. You're the ones kicking our players. And it could have, with a better ref, it would have easily been a lot more as well, because there were so many Taylor Oliver was just letting go. Like I said to you in the week, Adam, it was like 80-20 was going to be Liverpool's way. So it's very, very funny seeing how ungracious they're being, and they're throwing their toys out the pram. And yeah, Yates pretty much did a lot of that on his own. So yeah.
Another thing as well, you're right to say there's a lack of grace, which I think we would have all expected. But I see an interview this morning with Allison, and he's saying that the better team lost. They didn't deserve to lose. They should have got the win. And he's
long ball size. Yeah.
All you can hear in background is our boombox blaring out, like, get that up, you silly little. Well, you know, it's a family podcast, so I'll end that sentiment there.
I mean, he let himself down though, Tom, and he let the family down because he dropped the F-bomb in that interview. I mean, I thought as a well-mannered young man, he let himself down. That's shocking. I've never thought I don't even think he had that in his vocabulary, the lad.
It's like when Chris Martin swears from Coldplay, isn't it? It's like, oh my word, how have you done that? Like.
Listen, there's two beasts inside that man. There's two wolves that live inside that boy, and sometimes the darker one gets out. So usually it's on the football pitch, but obviously not quite compartmentalised. But if Ryan Yates leading us to a win at Anfield, he can say what he bloody wants. He can call me a fat moron if he wants. I don't care. Like, his freedom. He has more freedom of speech than anyone should be able to have. That's my opinion on that. By the way, just before I forget as well, probably my favourite moment from yesterday was Nuno's reaction to the goal, like that dead-eyed staring and just going "Vamos!"
It was.
But he was like stone-faced. He was like just as shocked as the rest of us. Like, he's really, well, not winning me. I'm very much won over, but like, I'm just at that stage, like when I was there with Cooper, where everything he does is oh god, isn't he wonderful? Isn't he amazing? Like, just like, yeah, I could not come on this podcast and not mention his little vamos, but then like his dead-eyed stare whilst he was doing it. What a boy!
Well, I must say, just to add, what Yates let us down with yesterday was that weirdly Andy Robertson, because of the weirdo he is, sneered at Yates when he'd like took a tumble on the byline when they won a corner. And you said it to me, Adam, there was a perfect chance for basically Yates to put Robertson in the Kenny Dalglish stand, and he didn't. And I think if he'd had and absolutely nailed him into it, I think I might have just gone above Tom in his fan club, because very, very, just no need for stupid stuff like how Robertson did behind his back. I thought that was out of order. That sums him up, really.
I'm not going to lie, right? If Yates had absolutely destroyed Robertson in that 50-50, then I think the whole of the Premier League fan base sort of stood up and applauded it, because I know like he's a hated player as well as like Bruno Fernandes. I mean, when Felipe got throttled Bruno Fernandes, everyone was like, "Yes, we're going to kill him." Or sort of,
yeah, if only
I think I'm
Robertson
going to
had
touch
that
on.
tenacity in the Euros, that Scotland might have actually done some of them rather than celebrating draws. But we'll move on.
Yeah. I'm going to just give a tip my hat off to Ola Reina, obviously, who was magnificent. I mean, Luis Diaz has been in red hot form recently, and I just thought one-on-one, no matter what he tried, he just took the ball off him. He got up the pitch, he supported. I mean, he lasted the 90 minutes, which is also a plus because you know what Ola Reina is. But in the aftermath of the interview, him asking about 100 boiled eggs for Hudson-Odoi and doing like Nigerian accents and dancing to Afro beats. I mean, what a bloke. I mean, if there's not a talk of a new contract for some of these players, then I don't know what's going on. But Aina, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White, I just think like we've got to try and keep them together as much as possible. And then a moment I thought which shows maturity and class is Murillo didn't try and dribble out yesterday. He just kept it nice and simple. But that bit of class where he like turned the ball in a 6 punch, took two players out and played a pass to Gibbs White, who was unfortunately offside in the end. I mean, I've not seen Virgil van Dijk ever do that in my life. So for me, Murillo is better than that big Dutch fraud. Like, I'm just going to put it out there just to rattle a few people if they ever come across this. Reece, how do we follow this up now? Obviously, we're going to go to Brighton, and people are going to go, well, we could go to Liverpool and win. Why can't we go there?
You're just going to ride that crest of a wave ball where you can't. You're going to be like, yeah, we could go to Brighton and beat them as well. Ipswich went there yesterday and got
yeah, why not?
Which knocked me out of the last man standing. So yeah, cheers Brighton. I noticed João Pedro wanting their team yesterday, so I don't know if that's an injury, which would be good for us if it is, if he isn't playing, because he's one of their best players. But if someone would have said to you, look, you're going to get 3 points out of Liverpool and Brighton, you'd have been like, yeah, we'll take that and run for the hills now. So to have got that at Liverpool and you're going to Brighton, look, you're going to go there with confidence and you're going to go there with optimism. And, you know, when you're on this crest of a wave, which is very rare in the Premier League for, you know, sides who are trying to still establish themselves, you know, you've got to ride it, haven't you? And yeah, why not? Why can't we go to Brighton and get a result? I mean, if we was to go to Brighton and get anything, a point as we did in the first season, and that would be a fabulous result. So yeah, let's see come next Sunday, Inter.
Yeah, definitely. Christian, obviously Nuno's got a huge headache now going to Brighton with the two team selections, but obviously two completely different games. Do you expect wholesale changes again? Do you expect obviously the wingers to come back in, or how do you see it going? Because it's a really good kind of proposition we've got with the team selection.
It's a good point. I don't actually know. I suspect, to be fair, last year we got quite unlucky, didn't we? I mean, obviously, I should have had a red card. The game plan was largely quite good. I thought we contained Brighton pretty well. I think it was just a set piece goal, wasn't it? Of course it was. And Sells and Andio sort of got each other's way and they scored. Yeah. So really, I mean, you know, I don't think he'll deviate from that plan too much. So I can't remember if Elanga or Hudson-Odoi started that day. So I suspect they probably did. But I think it's possible, but I think I wouldn't be surprised to see him revert back to a more attacking side, just because obviously we aren't going to be as under the cosh. But then again, Brighton do have to keep the ball a lot, so it might well be, like you said, a similar sort of game plan. It's food for thought for Nuno, and I think what's really nice though is that we're in a position now. I mean, obviously Reece couldn't even do a team in midweek because we've got so many options, but now we've got options that are playing well and making a claim to keep their shirt, and that gives the manager an almighty headache, but in a good way. It's not like before with Forest where you're looking at a team and thinking, oh god, he's crap. How are we gonna you're watching Matt Mills defending and stuff like that, and it's just atrocious. But now it's actually we're leaving good players out, even good players who are playing well. So it's a really nice place for us to be in, and I just really hope it can last and we can sort of build from this. But so I digress slightly, but to answer your question, I suspect he may stay the same and look to exploit Elanga and Hudson-Odoi's pace again, but we'll see.
Yeah, so neither of them started last year, and we actually started Divock Origi at Brighton last year.
Oh, blimey.
Jesus.
They moved on from them. So the team last year was Sells, Williams, Andy O, Murillo, Toffolo, Dominguez, Danilo, Yates, Gibbs White, Origi, Wood.
I
So
mean,
even
what a
prima
contract.
facie, you look at that team to the team what we can put out on Sunday, next Sunday. It just reads far better straight away, doesn't it? Really, in my opinion.
Absolutely, Tom. This is now kind of a bit of a unusual kind of territory for Forest, because now do the rest of the league kind of go? They look at that result and go, "Well, hang on, it wasn't a fluke. Forest played well. We had chances, obviously, Alanga's volley, Chris Wood's chance, the snatch chance from Alanga as well." Do teams now kind of look at us a bit differently and go, "Well, hang on, actually, they're a pretty solid side now"?
Yeah, I reckon so. I think we're a different proposition to what we were last year, and whether you can say that after 4 games or not is something. But I just keep looking. I can't take my eyes off like how good we are defensively at the minute. Like even when the games where we've conceded goals, like both Bournemouth and Wolves, we've limited them. Southampton didn't lay a glove on us. To an extent, Liverpool struggled to lay a glove on us, and literally probably their best chance was when Souls nearly threw it in his own net. So I think now if teams are looking at Nottingham Forest, we're definitely not in that position now where that's an easy 3 points. Yesterday definitely put everyone on notice. Now, whether teams will change the way they play against us, I mean, I can't imagine Brighton will. They'll keep front foot, they'll keep doing 300 passes every move, boring everyone to tears, but getting the results. Fair play to them. That's how it goes. But I think. Maybe I'm right in saying this, maybe I'm wrong, but I think getting 3 bonus points there yesterday takes a lot of pressure off us going there, because I had it in my head we'd lose at Liverpool and then Brighton would be a tough place, and all of a sudden 5 points from 3 games is 5 points from 5 games, and in that time, like the likes of Ipswich, Leicester have had a couple of games to catch us up, and you're just thinking, all right, okay, well, we started well, we're still not getting like the results, and that's how quick it can change. It can change like that in 2 games. So to get those bonus 3 points now, it's almost like the pressure's off. Then we go into the Fulham home game the week after. But in terms of how should we line up against Brighton, like, yeah, I'd like to see at least one of Alanga or Hudson-Odoi in the team. Just 10% more attacking, just a little bit more of an outlet, and just have a bit of faith and confidence in ourselves that if we do lose the ball in the final third, that we can recover it in the sort of middle third or defensive third. But yeah, in terms of how will teams play against us, I think they'll by all means. I don't think they're quaking in their boots just yet, but I think we'll give them a lot to think about how do they break us down, because that's going to be the biggest challenge now, is getting past the wall of Moreno, Milenkovic, Murillo, and I really wish Aina's name began with an M, because that would be fantastic. But yeah, we really are building something now, and Premier League, you've been put on notice. What can I say?
I mean, Morato came on yesterday. We just needed to throw Miguel on and
Oh.
Moreira on, and we would have been like back 6 of M's. Like it would have just been chaos for a commentator. Imagine Colin Frey would have been frothing at the mouth, like trying to get all that out if they passed to each other.
Well, we're so close to that back 4 being called Eminem and Eminem, but what can you do?
I mean, I think something I forgot to mention was obviously Milenkovic come out in the papers and said, like, I played in the Red Star Partizan derby, the Belgrade derby. Like, Anfield will be literally nothing compared to it. And I mean, they sang "You'll Never Walk Alone," and kind of I get it, because me and Reece spoke about it. Like when Forest play like Brentford or Bournemouth or whoever at home, the atmosphere is never really up for it unless like something happens or something's got to get generated from a moment or whatever. And I just thought like Milenkovic is going to go to Brighton and go, well, what the bloody hell is this? Like, absolutely nothing in comparison, like just a library. So that will be an interesting one. And again, we could have spoke about him, and his influence in these first 4 games is absolutely evident, because he headed absolutely everything away from crosses from Robertson or Trent or McAllister or whatever. He just, anything that was in the air towards him, he just headed it like a brick. And so fair play. So we're going to get some predictions, guys, before we end the show. So Reece, start off with yourself. Brighton away. Obviously, we're going to do a podcast with Joe Sayers from, I can't remember what the podcast is called.
Is it Albion Obsessed?
Albion Obsessed, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yes, Albion Obsessed, yes. Reece, start yourself.
It's a tough.
Sorry about that.
You try not to get. See, like the fourth game last season, I put the tracker up on his Twitter page. The fourth game last season where we beat Chelsea away, and then obviously, like I've said on this pod so many times, we signed all these new players, we just beat Chelsea, and then you kind of get carried away, and it turned into a right slog of a season. So, as much as you're riding this crest of a wave, you're trying to not get too carried away as well. But like I said, the moments are few and far between in the Premier League, so you've got to live a little, haven't you, and enjoy it. So. Again, a tough game. I mean, I'm vastly surprised they didn't beat Ipswich yesterday. You know, I don't know whether that's just because it's the
Especially with
first
the
game
start
back.
they've had as well.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just because it's the first game back from the break, or obviously they're missing such an influential player and goal scorer in João Pedro for them, who started the season really well. I've not seen their highlights, so I won't be able to really talk about much on that. But no, I think we can go there and get another result. And I'm gonna go for, because it's the first game into on Sky, the Super Sundays they call it. I'm gonna go for a. Do I go for? Go on. I'll go for another one. I'll go for another 1-0 win. Let's ride this crest of a wave. And that
Oh
would
my goodness.
upset. Hopefully it's like a proper dual game, and all the neutrals are like, why the hell have Sky put this on? Oh, so we can talk about how amazing Tony Bloom and Brighton's recruitment is, and then they get S-half by our 10 midfielders on the pitch, and we win 1-0. That'd be nice. Yeah, like I said, not? Even if we go there and get a point, that'd be a great result as well.
Christian?
Apologies about that, by the way. I'm sure you heard bits and pieces, but basically a cross came in and hit someone in a private area, and our team didn't put the ball out, and I didn't take too kindly to that. But hence the exclamations. But Sunday League, mate. But I'm going to go for 1-1 draw. I think that. I don't know. I've got a feeling with Pedro likely coming back. I saw Nick in the comments say that obviously he came back late for international duty. He's having a slight knock, but Reece is bang on. Like, his importance to Brighton is huge. I suspect he'll be back in the team. But yeah, equally, I don't think we'll lose. So I think, I don't know. It's quite weird, isn't it? Going into like away games and sort of saying like, actually, if I can get something, it's great. So I'm going to go for 1-1 draw. And really, if you said 4 points from Brighton and Liverpool, we'd have all yanked your arm off, let alone take your hand off. So fingers crossed that can come to fruition, and obviously it's going to be a Sky as well. So I'm sure they'll be full of complimentary things to say about us.
Yeah, definitely. Tom, we can't play in the Sky Blue kit, which is we're obviously going to have to play in the Cursed Red kit, or maybe even our other darker navy blue, probably red, I'd assume. But thoughts on the Brighton game as well, score prediction.
Yeah, which is the fact we can't wear the all-beating, all-conquering like Sky Blue kit is sort of tempering my expectations a little bit. And I'm not one for predicting scores really, so thanks for having me on the podcast and asking me that question. But I think one thing that'll happen is I think we'll both score. Now, whether that finishes 1-1 or if we nick it or if Brighton do, but I can, if you were to push me, I'd be saying my most optimistic forecast is a 1-1. I think we've all just got to keep. It's hard after a result like yesterday. We've all just got to keep our feet on the ground a little bit. It's early days, and I've sort of alluded to it, and it's my favourite Billy Davies quote, of which there are many. But you are only ever like 2 games away from a crisis. So I think we can't go into it too cocksure. We can't go into it thinking we'll take the lot on. Like, I think we've got to be realistic. It is a tough place to go. I know they dropped points yesterday, and like I say, if they've got the likes of Pedro back, if they've got, if they're blessed in terms of selection, then I think it'll be a very difficult place to get a result. But my most optimistic forecast, I can't see us winning as good as we've been in our start to the season and our last run of like away games and that. But if we get away, like Christian says, if we can come away with 4 points from 6 games, that is infinitely better than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, go on then. Both teams to score, probably 1-1, but if any team wins it, I can see it being Brighton.
Fair enough. Fair assessment. I mean, it's another chance for us to break another record. I think if we win, we equal the Frank Clark record of 5 away wins on the trot in the Premier League. I know it's in over 2 seasons, but we take those sort of things. But yeah, no, I'm positive. I'm making the trip on the Sunday to Brighton. So wish me luck, guys. If anything, I'm an omen because I've been Southampton and I've been Liverpool, and we've won both games. We're just not in the magical Man City kit, obviously. But yeah, I'm optimistic. Like Tom says, obviously Brighton very strong side. I think Pat's just put in the comments Brighton battered Ipswich, just couldn't score, but with João Pedro back, that ruthlessness in them. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, Fabian Hurtzler's come in as the new darling of the Premier League with this flamboyant style that at St. Pauli. But I don't see why we should go and fear them. I think we'll go and attack them, and Nuno will set us up how he needs to. And it's going to be an interesting kind of dynamic in midfield, whether he sticks with Yates and Ward-Prowse and Anderson or what. But it's going to be an interesting one. I'm gonna probably predict a draw actually as well. I think I'm gonna go for a high scoring one and say 2-2 actually. So yeah, and I'll just leave you with that little image where you can't quite see Forest, but one and Liverpool nil as our background picture. They just took out the ground yesterday. But thank you everyone who joined us in the chat and in the comments and on the live stream today. We had about a peak of 90-ish, so pretty good for us. Hope you all enjoy your Sundays. Hope you all enjoy going back to work and rubbing it in any Liverpool fans' faces that you might see. I know I will. Yeah, enjoy it. The come down will probably hit you by Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Forest will bring out the match day pass, and we'll all be back on the bandwagon before Brighton.
Yeah, I'm living on this for all time, mate. This is an all time.
Yeah, so am I.
That's the thing. You talk about the Brighton game next week, and it's like if we lose that, it really isn't a big deal. We've got more points out of these two fixtures, and then we're back home. Like, honestly, I mean, game 5 is probably too early to tell the lads to get the flip flops on. But I'm just saying this win, like, it's going to sustain us like for a good long while, and we should revel in it, and we should wipe it in. I've got my team call tomorrow morning at work. We're not going to discuss what everyone's doing on the day. We're going to discuss why Ryan Yates is Lee Carsley's best weapon at the World Cup 2026. That's exactly where I'm steering the conversations when I log on tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant. Well, hope everyone enjoys their Sundays. Enjoy your week. Yeah, just whatever, like, get in. I'm so speechless. I can't speak, as the famous commentary goes. Yeah, everyone enjoy. If you've enjoyed it, drop us a like. It means a lot. Subscribe. It's free. We'll catch you in the next one. Come on, you Reds.